Hi everybody, it's Mars Peach back to do a semi-week in review video. Anyway, this is my second review of March. I actually originally filmed this yesterday, but as you may or may not know, I'm dog sitting and I was kind of rushed because he was nagging me to go for a walk and stuff and a lot of other crap. He's peacefully sleeping now and we have already been outside, so I think I can take my time a little bit more. Anyway, I have two books to review for you this week. The first one is Wicked Lovely by Melissa Marr. I believe this was in my top 10 book covers list because I really like the girl being, out of focus in the background, and you really just see sharply the flower and the frost in her hands. I still think it's really pretty even now. This is about a teenage girl named Ashlyn who has the hereditary ability to see fairies, which obviously exist in her world, and she has lived her whole life following these rules set by her grandmother, who also has the same ability. Basically that fairies are no good, and the best thing to do is pretend that you don't see them. Don't ever let them notice you. Don't look at them. And that's the way to go. That's what she's been doing her whole life until suddenly she starts seeing fairies more and more all around her, paying attention to her. And that in itself is breaking one of the rules, letting fairies notice you. So pretty much it turns out that Keenan, who is the Summer King of the fairies, is trying to get Ashlyn for some purpose, which I'm not going to reveal too much. And she's kind of torn between this, I want to say, attraction to him, even though it's not quite romantic. She feels kind of a pull towards him. And between that and between, following her grandmother's rules and also her best friend Seth, who she also has romantic feelings for. For some reason, before I read the book, I was thinking that I wasn't going to like it that much. I don't know if it was like lukewarm reviews that I had read, which I can't even think of anything specifically, or the fairies in themselves, because I really haven't read any fairy books or kind of a paranormal-esque type of story to it, or I was thinking it was going to be, the typical paranormal romance where there's a big love triangle and stuff like that. And I was pleasantly surprised. The love triangle, or love triangle in quotes, really was not what I thought it was going to be, so that was good. I loved the characters, especially Seth, who is Ashlyn's best friend. You can tell they have romantic tension, but Seth does not date, apparently, so Ashlyn thinks that she is not going to ever let herself take things to the next level because she doesn't want to ruin their friendship, thinking that maybe it will just be like a one-night stand for him. He is basically the sweetest guy in the world, and I probably fell in love with him too reading this book, which is weird because he is covered in tattoos and piercings, is how he's described, and I just find that really physically unattractive in a guy, but he definitely won me over with his personality. Although when I read about his belly button ring, I thought that was kind of gross, like that's a girly thing to do, but that's kind of being sexist on my part. Also, I love Danya, who is another fairy who used to be immortal and was made the way she was by Keenan, and she's very resentful of Keenan for this, and she also, they used to have a thing going on. She still has feelings for him, and she has sympathy for Ashlyn, and all this conflicting things of what she has to do, which I really probably connected to her the most as a character. At least I liked her the best. Ashlyn herself I thought was fine, decent, not like, your typical paranormal heroine, Bella Swan, but Keenan I also thought was an interesting character, but Donnie and Seth are my two standouts. One thing that I felt was a little bit lacking was, there wasn't a lot of action until towards the end. There was some, which was good. It was slightly on the slower pace side, which I didn't find it draggy at all, though, but just be warned of that. Also, Melissa Marr's writing style, she tends to introduce things in the story and just leave you kind of like, she doesn't explain it right away. And me as a reader, I was like, I don't really get, wait, and then, oh, later on, like afterwards, you know, she would go back and kind of explain what happened before. So the questions would be answered later on in the book, which I thought was interesting. It took a while for me to kind of get used to it. I do wish there had been just a tiny bit more backstory because I wanted to know more, but this is the first in a 5-book series, so it's highly likely that there's going to be more explained in the later books, which I do plan to read, especially since I already own 2 of them. All in all, I would recommend Wicked Lovely, especially if you're a fairy fan. I give it a 4 out of 5 rating. My next and last book that I have is Blood Red Road by Moira Young. There it is. This is a post-apocalyptic / dystopian book, which, as you know, I am sadly addicted to my dystopians. It is set, you can kind of tell from the clues, it's set in America in the future where post-apocalyptic, it's just kind of most of the land is a desert wasteland and there's dust storms all the time, stuff like that. It's about a girl named Saba who lives in seclusion with her family, including her widowed father, her twin brother Lou, and her younger sister Emmy. One day, very early on in the book, within like the first few pages, there's a huge dust storm, and then right afterwards, these menacing guys in black cloaks on horses come and kidnap her brother, and they kill her dad. And so Saba vows that she is going to go after them and get her brother back, no matter what it takes. And the story just kind of picks up from there. I was so extremely addicted to this book. So addicting, so good, like right from the first page. There were kind of some Hunger Games comparisons that I just want to get out of the way. I've read stuff like this before, and even reading it myself, although it was very different, there are a couple things. First of all, Saba herself is like Katniss from the Hunger Games. She's an outwardly tough as nails kind of chick, yet inside she's quite emotionally immature. Also, the relationship between Saba and her younger sister Emmy is kind of plays a big role in this, just like Katniss and Prim in the Hunger Games. Yet it is the polar opposite relationship that Katniss and Prim had, where it was very loving, and Katniss was like a second mother, more than just a big sister to Prim. Here, it's totally different. Saba blames Emmy for killing off their mom because their mom died in childbirth, so she never quite got over that, and she resents Emmy and just thinks she's annoying and can't do anything right, and stuff that most real-life big sisters feel. I know I used to feel that way towards my sister when we were younger, and maybe even a little bit now. Not the mom dying part, but anyway, their relationship plays a big part in this, and it obviously grows and evolves throughout the story, which I really liked. There's also a part in here where Saba is captured and forced to go into cage fighting, which I was thinking, like, seriously? It's a Hunger Games knockoff, but it totally was not. That's all I'm going to say. It's quite a small part of the book, and it plays out totally different from how the Hunger Games do, so don't worry about that. The book was just action-packed from beginning to end. I was completely hooked. I don't want to give away too much of the plot, but it's quite different from the usual dystopians that I read, in that there is no big society controlling everybody, although there is a terrible leader in this, which I'm not going to give away too much. It's mainly a post-apocalyptic, just kind of shows that the earth has been destroyed by humanity, although it's not preachy or anything like that, which it might sound that way by the way I'm describing it. I don't know. There is a romance in this. Quite a lovable character named Jack. At least I found him highly lovable. He was kind of really a humorous, sarcastic kind of guy. But honestly, I felt like I could give or take the romance. I thought it was done well enough, but on the other hand, the concept of fate and everything I felt like was dwelt upon a little bit too much, and I felt even if you had erased the romance from the book, it wouldn't have taken away anything, but I guess that's what's popular with teenagers and the young adult audience, so authors really almost never not have a romance in their books. I wouldn't say that was really a negative part of the book for me, but I could take it or leave it, seriously. One thing that I just thought was funny, also totally random, there is a character in this book named Epona, and anytime I read her name, I just kept thinking about the horse from the Legend of Zelda games, and I'm sure obviously it wasn't originated by the games or anything, but I just keep thinking of, Link riding the horse, and it was just silly, and I just couldn't get over it though. It's silly of me, I know. One thing that did take some getting used to for me was the writing style. It is written from Saba's point of view, first person present narration, and it is written phonetically in the way that Saba speaks. And why this was so difficult is because the people, most of them, the great majority in this world are uneducated, and they speak, you can tell they're uneducated, like endings are chopped off of words, and it's kind of almost looks like a really redneck type of southern accent is the way it's written. Although after the first few pages, it was kind of confusing. Once I got used to it, I felt like it really enhanced the story and helped me to become more completely immersed as if I wouldn't have been already. All in all, I would say if you are a fan of any of those things that I'm saying, dystopians, post-apocalyptic, strong heroines, just really engaging storylines, action, romance, family themes, any of that crap, I highly recommend Blood Red Road. I give it a 5 out of 5. It's another one of my favorite books of the month for sure after Rampant, I have to say. So I hope you guys check it out and that you like it as much as I did. That wraps up my review video. See you guys next time.